There's a very fine line between the cocky and the confident. The cocky, well, they feel the need to tell everyone how good they are. And the confident, well, they don't feel the need to say anything at all, because they don't have to. Matt Boldy is 19 years old, and the kid is filled with confidence. Now, maybe some of that confidence comes from that little gold medal he won with Team USA in the World Juniors this past year. Or it could be the fact that he now plays for one of the most prestigious college hockey programs in the country. Or it could be because he's a first-round draft pick in the NHL for the Minnesota Wild. Either way, the kid's confident. But if you ask me, the kid's confidence comes from something much deeper. So sit down, relax, and put on those nice little warm PJs you like to wear. You know, the ones that you got with those little teddy bears on them. Because tonight, I'm with Matt Boldy of the Boston College Eagles. And tonight, it's Hockey Night in New England.
I hear him chatting the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution.
Hockey Night in New England is brought to you by Dunkin'. Where there's hockey, there's Dunkin'.
There's Matt as a goalie, older brother. I always threw him in net, throwing shots at him. He never complained.
Ever since he could walk, he would put rollerblades on and he couldn't even stand up in them, and he would just go around and be crazy, and he would be like a daredevil too.
We just skate up and down the driveway back and forth, not even passing the puck, but him looking straight ahead and being able to see on either side without having to look, because everybody looks.
I think until he was like 12 years old, we fought like crazy, just because I think we were both super competitive, and that just brought out the worst in ourselves until we finally had that relationship where he was old enough where he wasn't like my little brother anymore, he was more like a friend.
And then one night, a friend of mine invited us down to the Providence Bruins. I brought Mikey with me, and Michael was just in awe. Didn't say a word, just watching it. And Mike fell in love with the game, got into the game, and basically Matt wanted to follow in his brother's footsteps.
By the time I was skating, he wanted to skate. He was on the ice early.
I think Maddie's so competitive because of his brother. Because him and his older friends, Mikey's friends, used to just pick on him.
After years of learning the game from his brother, Matt began to develop his own style of hockey. And it was becoming clear that the future for him was bright.
He has his own way. I call it Matty Boldy hockey. When we were in the brick and he was really nervous, the first couple games, I'm like, to just go play Matt Boldy hockey.
I try not to model my game after other players, just because it's a little bit different. Everyone plays different. Everyone has their own type of playing style, and I kind of find that if I'm trying to play like someone else, it kind of takes away from my other skills that come naturally.
He kind of just stood out because he was always relevant, in every game, every practice, He was never, kind of in the background. He was always sticking out in some way, whether it was on the way he scores or, assists, or even in the D zone sometimes. So he always finds a way to contribute.
Very creative, he likes to score goals, but just as much, he likes to make plays that lead to goals.
Scored! Beautiful!
We had a little talk about confidence and cockiness and how there's a big difference. There's nothing wrong with being confident on the ice and want to be that person in that position to make a difference in a game, especially towards the end. But really the cockiness part is you got to tell everybody how good you are. And when you walk out and people say you had a good game, that's when you know you're good, because you don't have to tell them.
When high school started, it was time for Matt to show the difference between confidence and cockiness. He enrolled at Dexter Southfield School, and as a freshman, while stepping on the ice with kids 4 years as senior, he showed that his confidence was the key to proving that he belonged.
Walking in there kind of as a little boy, I was 15 years old playing there, it was a big jump going from U14 hockey, playing kids my own age, to playing up to 18, 19-year-old, even in some cases some 20-year-old players. That was a big jump for me, I think, especially being so young.
We were playing up at Holderness, New Hampshire, and it's an outdoor rink. So it was third period, we were going into the third period. I think we were up 2-0. It was a pretty close game, and we separated the game a little bit. We scored a couple goals, and Matt, in about, I think it was 9 minutes left in the third period, I still can remember looking at the clock because I was in awe of what he just did. But he came down on a 3-on-2 and just toe dragged a guy and snapped it in mid toe drag under the crossbar. And I remember looking at Brian McCulgan and Billy Kelleher, my assistant coaches, saying, wow, he's a freshman. Like, he's that special.
As the promise continued to build at Dexter, Matt knew that it was time to get serious. While he continued to grow on the ice, he had to build his body off of it. He found the place to make that possible, and that was with Brian McDonough and the staff at Edge Performance Systems.
Physically, I don't think I'd be where I'd be without EPS. When I went there, I was kind of a skinnier, lanky kid, not as strong as I am now, and kind of going there and be able to put my trust into him and let him do what he does best.
Because he's working out with the Hayes brothers, he's seeing Rob Gronkowski going in there, and I think that really inspired him that I want to be that.
I'm with Owen Campbell here at EPS in Northborough, and Owen, wow, totally different feel than the Foxborough location.
Yeah, this place is a lot newer than Foxborough. We've had it for about 2.5 years, but yeah, it's really nice.
Little bit of a different dungeon feel than Foxborough, but you know you're in EPS when you're here. So tell us what we're going to do today.
Yeah, so today we have Ty Rubin, hockey player committed to Princeton, and then we have Tom Perrell, who's a lacrosse player committed to Notre Dame. We're just going to bring him through kind of our sample testing day. So obviously after we warm him up, we're going to move into a force plate jump profile test, a witty 10-yard sprint test, and then from there we're going to do some video analysis, some range of motion assessments, and then just kind of filter him through a lift and then end with some conditioning.
All right, looking forward to it. Let's take a look. I'm with Drake Berberet from Hawken Dynamics, and Drake, we got force plates here at EPS. Can you explain what they are and why they're important?
Yeah, so force plates provide biomechanical analysis for athletes and trainers. And force plates, they basically just measure the force that the athlete puts out on the plate. There's a left and a right one, so it tells you the asymmetry between limbs, it tells you the power output, it tells you the time it takes to develop that force. And we know in sport that the athlete is providing a lot of force throughout various movements, so it's relative to know how quickly they produce it, in what direction they're efficient in producing that force.
Introducing new Extra Charge coffee at Dunkin', because it's time for a little extra this year. Extra boost, extra kick, so we're extra good to go. New hot and iced Extra Charge coffee with 20% more caffeine. Order ahead plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'.
Some of us are not the same. Some of us see what everyone else is doing and think, let's do it better. That's why the new razor from Harry's is not the same. It has our sharpest blades ever. And unlike some other companies, we don't raise the price when we introduce something new. The new razor from Harry's. Harry's, not the same.
What's next for North Shore Hockey Academy?
As I mentioned earlier, we kind of hit it late in the year last year just to get the U18 Academy going. Next year we're expanding to 14, 16, 18. And I've hired an awesome staff, to put it together for next year. So looking forward to working with them, and I'm excited about the future of the North Shore Hockey Academy.
Sports Etc. Everything for hockey and more.
If you're looking for the best selection of everything for hockey and more, then come to Sports Etc. in Arlington, Mass. Since 1980, the experts at Sports Etc. have been properly fitting hockey players from beginners to pros, with trusted brands at great prices. Let the pros at Sports Etc. get you skating in the right direction. Visit Sports Etc. today for all your hockey needs.
Growing up, one of my best friends, Chase McGinnis, his dad, Marty, was a volunteer coach here for a number of years. And growing up, that's how we spent our weekends. We'd come here and watch BC play their series with whoever they were playing against, and the whole atmosphere, whether it was the pregame show or the game itself, or being able to go into the locker room after and kind of having that privilege with Marty being able to take me down there was awesome, and kind of just, it sucked me into want to be an Eagle for sure.
I think BC was one of the last teams that offered him a scholarship, so I think he jumped at it as soon as he could. You could just see like the relief on his face because he was waiting for it. I think he's always wanted that, so.
Yeah, I remember Marty talking about Matt, and we saw him as a 9th grader at Dexter, and he was playing against a lot of players that were seniors in high school, so he was giving away a lot of age. So he'd lose a lot of battles along the boards, but you could tell his hockey sense was off the charts, you know. We refer to that an awful lot as a player's hockey IQ, and he is very, very, he's not very good, he's outstanding in that area.
Within a couple of weeks of me saying something to Marty, all of a sudden we got the invite to go on a tour, and as soon as we sat down, Coach York offered him, and again, as a parent, either in hockey or whatever, seeing your kids' dreams come true is definitely special. So.
BC was definitely higher up there on the pedestal than some of the others, just in my head alone. Once I got the chance and the offer from Coach York, it was definitely a hard one to turn away, and I kind of jumped on it and took it, and I'm really happy with the decision I made.
A parent's dream, you know, like not to have to pay for college, to get college paid for is incredible, right? And the one that he wanted, you know, so I couldn't have been happier.
And Matt was a terrific student, great member of our community. Matt had always dreamed his whole life of going to Boston College. So that was since he was young, and I think he wanted to live out his dream, which was great. So it was a really great day for Jerry York and a not so great day for Ted Donato.
It was one of my dreams too, so I kind of not lived through his moment, but it was cool just to like see the Boldy on the back, 12, him take the ice, and then obviously it didn't start off too great there, but once he finally started turning it on the second half, that was awesome for him.
Teed up, scored! Beautiful!
My kids' successes are theirs, and knowing that feeling of reaching a goal, and again, it's different as a parent because you're watching them do it. It's a sense of pride, happy for them is really what I say.
It was kind of a no-brainer that Matt was going to be a Division I player, and if he grew and picked up a step, that he was going to be a possible NHL draft pick even back then.
That's the first thing they teach you in hockey is like, don't be joining this sport if you think that your kid's going to be in the NHL. So that was always in the back of my mind, like, I don't know, just let it happen if it happens.
After a solid finish to his freshman year, Matt has returned to the Eagles lineup, where he's averaged a point a game over the first 13 games. But with the Minnesota Wild waiting, the decision will soon be made on when to go pro.
It's like woke up like any normal day and get your suit on and everything. You walk to the rink, and then you're walking around the concourse, and you finally sit down in the seats, and that's when it kind of became real.
I could feel his foot tapping.
And it's like shaking.
His leg started just going. I'm next to him, I'm like, dude, like relax, like. And as soon as he got picked, you could just see his like shoulders just like drop, like relax.
The draft was incredible. Being able to go as early as I did to a great organization was a dream come true. It would have been a dream come true no matter what, but having that ability to get drafted with, I think we had 8 other guys from my team drafted in the first round that year, which being able to share that moment with them made it even more special, and other guys that I've known and grown up playing against and stuff like that. It was awesome. Draft day was pretty surreal and an incredible moment.
And then his name got called, and then it was just, you know, happened so quick. He gave me a nice hug, and he was so happy.
Matt and I, Jesus, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, gonna get me going, so.
When you see those goals being achieved, you know, we had a little talk before, and it was a memory we'll always have. it was special. So.
I think Billy Guerin and the Minnesota Wild are going to really, really enjoy having Matt Boldy. They have the Kirill Kaprizov, and they're going to add a kid like Matt Boldy, which I think those two are going to be two of the premier forwards in the NHL in the future.
I'm at Sports Etc. in Arlington, Massachusetts, and once again, I'm with Rich O'Rourke. Good to see you, Rich.
Good to see you, Joel.
Rich, we've had several conversations in the past about customization.
Yes.
Nowadays, customization is more and more easier.
Yeah.
As time goes by and as technology gets smarter. And today we've got the CCM stick fitter.
Yes. Yep. Going along with the things like the skate fitter, this gives us the chance to find out, narrow down what's the best flex for a player, which is probably the most important thing in choosing a stick.
Yeah.
It'll take it one step further from there, and that within the CCM line of sticks, it'll narrow down what the best stick geometry for you is.
Okay, so to get a little more specific, you've got this unit here that has an iPad in it, but you got a camera on back. Tell me what you do here.
So what we're going to do is, after we enter some basic metrics of the player, their weight, their height, how they shoot, where they like to shoot from, we'll then do a slow motion capture of both a slap shot and a wrist shot. From that, it'll kick out 3 recommendations at the end.
All right, let's take a look. Rich, the customization these days, it's gone further and further. This is unbelievable. The fact that you can film in slow motion, watch it back right away, and see what's going on with the flex and the stick, and unbelievable.
Yes, yeah, I think it takes a lot of the guesswork out of picking a stick, and I think that when the right player has the right stick, the results are a lot better.
Great job, Rich. For more information on Sports Etc., you can go to sportsetcetera.net or come down here and come see Rich or the Stantons at Sports Etc. in Arlington, Massachusetts.
Introducing new Extra Charge coffee at Dunkin', because it's time for a little extra this year. Extra boost, extra kick. So we're extra good to go. New hot and iced Extra Charge coffee with 20% more caffeine. Order ahead plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'.
Some of us are not the same. Some of us see what everyone else is doing and think, let's do it better. That's why the new razor from Harry's is not the same. It has our sharpest blades ever. And unlike some other companies, we don't raise the price when we introduce something new. The new razor from Harry's. Harry's, not the same.
What's next for North Shore Hockey Academy?
As I mentioned earlier, we kind of hit it late in the year last year just to get the U18 Academy going. Next year, we're expanding to 14, 16, 18. And I've hired an awesome staff, to put it together for next year. So looking forward to working with them, and I'm excited about the future of the North Shore Hockey Academy.
Sports Etc. Everything for hockey and more.
If you're looking for the best selection of everything for hockey and more, then come to Sports Etc. in Arlington, Mass. Since 1980, the experts at Sports Etc. have been properly fitting hockey players from beginners to pros, with trusted brands at great prices. Let the pros at Sports Etc. get you skating in the right direction. Visit Sports Etc. today for all your hockey needs.
All right, I'm here with Brian Pothier from Pothier Blue Line Hockey. Good to see you again, Brian. Thanks. So today, we're going to talk about small area games. One of my favorite things as a coach is to get kids in a small, tight area, a lot of puck touches, and you got to get creative on your edges.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a ton of ice and you can build up some speed and dangle around a cone, but when you get in this tight, restricted, confined area, then you got to be creative and use your brain.
All right, Brian, what's the first thing we're going to do here?
Call this game the Ring of Fire. This is a fan favorite. The kids love this one. And all we're going to do is dark jerseys versus light, and it's a shooter game. 1 in the middle, 2 in the perimeters. We're going to pump as many pucks in there, and these guys are just going to try to score as many goals as possible.
All right, Brian, that's great. What a great little game going on. These guys had a lot of fun. I had fun watching them.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun
All right,
game.
what are we going to see next?
This is a bigger variation of the Ring of Fire. I call it channel shooter, and all we're gonna do is expand it out, add another player, so now it's a 2-on-2 neutral zone with some shooters in the channel.
All right, let's take a look. All right, Brian, what are we seeing next here?
We're gonna do a little breakout game. It's about our forwards coming back and supporting our D, and our D getting their heads up and making some good passes.
And once again, we're in a small area as well.
Absolutely.
Love it. Let's take a look.
All right, boys, here we go.
I didn't make it my first year of eligibility, basically, to play in a tournament, which I was a little heartbreaking in my opinion. Obviously didn't have the best start to my freshman year here at school, and they made the decision and nothing you can really do about it. But having the chance to make that team this year and play a bigger role and be one of the guys that they look to succeed in certain spots was unbelievable.
It was something nice that was happening in the world, and it's been such a crappy year. So it gave us something to look forward to during Christmas. It was like the best Christmas present ever.
I was just watching at home. Watched a few of them by myself because my mom was working, but I was screaming at the TV.
Would have been nice to go, but yeah, you know, he's, again, living a dream and reaching a goal that he had set for himself.
It was must-see TV.
With his strong play, which included a hat trick in a preliminary round against Austria, Matt helped lead the United States into the gold medal game against hosts and longtime rival Canada.
A lot of people going into that game thought Canada was the favorite for sure, and I think in our locker room we tried to kind of block that out. I think we knew we were capable of playing with them. We knew the game plan we had to play to be able to capitalize and take advantage of certain spots in their game and spots in our game that we were really good at.
We watched the final game here with one of my oldest friends that's known Maddie forever. It was just like a cool experience. My dad, Emily, all the kids. It was awesome.
But being a part of that team that won that gold is huge for USA Hockey, for all ourselves and everything like that. Obviously, you're winning a gold at World Juniors. It's so important to every country, but just speaks volumes to USA Hockey and kind of the growth they've made with over the years and years of continuously producing high-end players that can really play at a really, really unbelievable level.
You know, coming back on that plane that, you know, Art Byrne, our former player, actually a teammate of mine here at BC, you know, reached out and said, I'm going to send a private plane out to pick them up. And all four came back with, you know, silver and gold medals. It was quite a trip back for them.
He wants to be the best player. He wants, every time he steps on the ice or in any game, he wants to be the best player out there. And he knows he can. So he has that confidence that I accept that role, I want that role, and I'm going to be that role, regardless, BC, USA Hockey, or wherever.
Family's the most important thing. I think the legacy of my grandfather is that everyone has such love for him that it kind of carries out through, you don't want to disappoint him, even though he's not with us anymore.
He writes power on his stick to this day.
It's nice being a parent when your kids do something and you don't have to tell them to do it, and they just do it and surprise you. It's really nice.
They had a close relationship, great guy. I think Jen and I, in regards to teaching him how to be a respectful person, and he takes and sacrifices that we made. Marty McGinnis, John Joyce, Coach Donato, right from his first coach, Tom Bork. I remember being at the draft, talking to a reporter and saying, this is the time that you reflect back and you see all those people that had some type of input in his life that got him to where he is today.
Well, I think Matt, what separates him too is he's just as good a person in the locker room as he is on the ice, and he was just as good a person in the classroom. Teachers loved him, obviously coaches love him, but more importantly, his teammates and peers thought the world of him because he has a quiet way of going about his business. He had a quiet confidence, but something happened when he went over the boards that he was like no other player. I've been very fortunate to have coached about 11 NHL guys, and I can tell you this, that Matt Boldy has as bright a future as any guy I've ever coached.
And he'll be successful whenever opportunity is given. That's all he asks for, is an opportunity.
Matt Boldy has already accomplished more than enough as a hockey player to consider this a success story. The confidence that this kid has is only going to lead him into bigger and better things as his hockey career goes on. With the Eagles ranked #1 in the country and the Minnesota Wild waiting for their future star, the only question is, what does the future hold? Hockey Night in New England is brought to you by Dunkin'. Where there's hockey, there's Dunkin'.